Wait, don't skip ahead to the video just yet. I wanted to provide a little bit of context and a disclaimer for this video and videos of this series going forward. So these are not going to be live reaction videos in the typical sense, although there will be some reacting, and I'll get to that in a second. What these videos are intended to do are to recap the events that happen from Attack on Titan Season 1, Episode 1, all the way up to and including Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 16. At the time of recording right now, the latter half of the season has not premiered yet. That will be January 9th of 2022, and I have not read the manga. So to kind of fill the Attack on Titan void before we get to that point, hopefully, I wanted to kind of recap all the events that had happened from the beginning up until where we are now. And I thought the best way to do that would be by watching the show again, being that I haven't watched it again since it first came out. I've been with Attack on Titan from when Season 1 dropped. I waited the 4 years for Season 2, etc. And I wasn't even heavy into anime at that time. So it's been a long time. I have not seen a lot of these episodes. So this has been a fun experience because I wanted to rewatch it anyway, and I figured why not stream it, make YouTube videos out of it, and enjoy it with all the fans that want to enjoy it with me. So what I do is I go through these episodes, I recap some of the events, I reference things that happened, so there will be spoilers. Let me repeat that. There will be spoilers for up to and including Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 16. Anything beyond that, it's a guess. I have not read the manga, so I have no clue what happens, and I'm planning to keep it that way. So, just wanted to give that disclaimer of how this goes down. I'm going to be pausing the video a lot to go over some things that I may have missed when I watched it my first time, providing context for future situations, my opinions on certain things. Attack on Titan really makes you think. It really stretches those ethical, moral muscles in the brain or in the body quite a bit. So I'm going to be going over things like that and giving my opinion on the show and where I hope it's going and make predictions and all that sort of thing. But I just wanted to give you guys that context as to what this is and the disclaimer that there will be spoilers, although there will be a bit of reacting. In case I forgot something that happened, it'll be a fresh reaction. I'm very expressive and emotive, so there will be plenty of that there to fill the reaction void that may have been there. Anyway, that's all I have. Thank you so much. If you like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's get into it. Man, their use of sounds and music is just incredible. Like the lack of sound. You know, people say Armin is the one narrating this, but he doesn't sound like himself in this initial... Maybe it's just an older version of him. I don't know. Oh man, you already see that look. So we already see the smoke coming out of the Colossal Titan's back here. Okay, so I'm pretty sure their commander here is the commander, the guy commanding them is the guy that winds up going bald and then, or shaving his head and then training the new recruits when they do come in, which again, I totally forgot that. I haven't seen this in years. So it's interesting to see Erwin in the back and not in the front leading the charge. Bro, I totally forgot how much action there was in this first episode here. Second of all, look at this Titan and how like different this Titan looks in comparison to a lot of the other drawn ones. I find it pretty interesting. Damn, this Titan is jacked. Woo! Okay, we're gonna have to analyze this scene like brick by brick here because this is one that I certainly missed in the beginning. So I think that's spoiler, his mother being eaten. The windmill here, and then the Titans appear here. Oh man, that is so fast. It's so hard to see that. Who is this? This is another Titan, right? I don't know what this armor is right here, but I do remember there is a scene later. That's Winnie the Pooh. Shout out Winnie the Pooh. There is a scene later in season 4 with Willie Tiber and his family and his children, and I'm pretty sure one of them might have like a little cot set up, but I could be wrong there. So very interesting here that Eren is able to, which is, again, this is something you don't even catch the first time you watch it. It's very interesting that he has these memories of, rather, or premonitions of future events, right? So maybe I'm overlooking, or maybe I'm looking too far into this, but again, the first episode here is called 2000 Years to You or something like that, right? We saw from the trailer, I will mention the trailer for part 2 of season 4 because again, that's common knowledge at this point. We do see Eren talking inside the whole connector thing, and he is referencing someone saying, you've been looking for 2,000 years. So there has been theories that this is like a giant time loop thing. Is he talking to himself? Have these events already happened and now he's woke up again and they just started? What's the deal here? It's very interesting. And he's crying too. Very interesting. All right, the year is 845. The whole community knows now you're screwed. We can see even from the start here that Eren does not play games when he is dead freaking serious with a capital D when it comes to, you know, making sure that the walls are protected, that the city's protected. He really cares, and it's interesting because Eren has never actually witnessed Titans, or so we think. I don't know. He's never actually witnessed Titans before, at least come over the wall or anything like that. And so it's interesting, even at, you know, as a young child who was not exposed to it on a full level, how invested he is in making sure that these people are in tip-top shape to be able to fight them, which says a lot because it's very easy for people to forget the hardships that come, even if it's right on the other side of the wall. There's the presence of them was always there, but like it's a different thing to experience it, be one of the scouts, stuff like that. So it's interesting seeing Eren like that. And it just trips me out so much how, knowing what I know now, that Grisha knew the entire time the severity of this situation, how he can't just go blaring it to the rooftops because of his secret mission, but at the same time he knows that they are in imminent danger the entire time. So it definitely adds, you know what I mean, a new element to it. There's something to that, even though Eren doesn't fully understand it, and it's not necessarily a noble thing in a sense, but it kind of is. And it's interesting to see this part of this character who, for all of his joking and his belligerency and all that kind of stuff, is able to take solace in the fact that the people are safe, at least for now. Everyone. He looks young. Oh my god. First of all, look at this shot. That's just like, Attack on Titan has just this ability to have, just like, these shots just have this ability to make you feel like terrified but sad at the same time. Like, you see the actual anguish and torment on a lot of these people in these shots when they're like super serious about something, or when they're sad, or when they're just like in disbelief. I've always applauded the animators for being able to do that. They do it pretty well with Mappa too. But yeah, man, it's just crazy seeing this again, and you tend to forget how bad the Eldians, you know, is the folks inside the wall really had it. Like, it was terrible stuff. Oh, he broke. He broke. You know, it was it's just so sad because it's not even about oh, should he have broken down like that or shouldn't he have? It's not even about like a right or wrong. It's just he needs to get it. He needs to tell the truth. He needs to get it off his chest because he just couldn't do it. He couldn't look the mother in the eye and lie to her. He couldn't, because think of how many times he's had been in that same exact situation where he's had to lie to someone about their son, their daughter, their brother, their sister, their mother, their father, you know, and tell them that they did a great thing and that their contribution, you know, helped, which it does. You know, we find later, and Erwin's speech really just sums it up perfectly, that it does help, all these small things. But man, there's a heap of bodies, you know, in the wake. So that was a really gripping scene. Oh yeah, I'm gonna cry when I hear Erwin's speech again. Okay, so this is something that's curious to me. I wonder if Grisha, when he said if he's going to, again, spoilers, to talk to the Reese family at this point, because we get flashbacks about him pleading with them to help, and I'm going to go ahead and assume him going to see patients a lot of times now is really code for I'm going to go out and do the next, you know, and try and find out more about the Founding Titan and get all this ish together, because that's really the plan here. So every time he says that now, I think that I don't know when the timeline it lines up, if this is happening whilst he is pleading with them and getting more info. We see a lot of younger folks here. So I'm not positive on that one, but it seemed interesting that he said, I'm going to be gone for 2 to 3 days. You know, that would imply that he's going to do something important.
Eren が調査兵団に入りたいって。
どうして外に出たいんだ?
Grisha knows, man.
ここで誰も続く人がいなかったら、今までに死んだ人たちの命が無駄になる。
船の時間だ。そろそろ行くよ。
ちょっとあなた。
It's so wild too how, you know, for everyone who's seen up until, again, spoiler here, how Grisha must have been relieved that Eren has the personality that he has and has the ambition to want to go outside the walls, and he wants to join the Survey Corps. And like the point is that he's invested in this fight, whether he knows the full implications of it or not, as compared to someone like Zeke, his brother, who had a very different childhood growing up in Marley and being forced into these roles that he did not want to be in. You know, that definitely pushed him away from it. It's interesting that now Grisha takes an opposite approach, and Eren just naturally gravitates towards the longing to fight and the longing for freedom and to explore and be a pioneer and you know, fight back against all this.
帰ったらずっと秘密にしていた地下室を見せてやろう。
Yeah, because at that point he knows he's ready, right? When he asked Eren that, and he didn't have to prod or poke him or force him into any sort of decision, Eren just said, this is why I want to do this as an individual. That's when he's like, you're ready to do it, because he didn't want to make the same mistakes that he made with Zeke. It's a big thing. I mean, there's a lot of parenting issues that happen, which we'll get into later, but seems to be a recurring theme with some of these characters that end up pretty messed up. Not to say that Eren avoided that per se, but you know, at least up until this point, it doesn't seem like he's broken. That's just the way I see it. Man, that key is infamous. Oh, mothers. Crushing dreams since the dawn of time. Oh, man. Oh shit. You know, Mikasa, bro.
人類はいずれ外の世界に行くべきだって言ったら殴られた、異端だって。
外に出たいってだけでなんで白い目で見られるんだ。
そりゃ壁の中にいるだけで100年。
It's because it's all they know. It's all they know. People are pretty adverse to change, and it's pretty incredible how quickly people will be willing to give up their freedoms and, you know, just basic functions in life for a sense of security. It's pretty wild. I mean, obviously this is a pretty dire situation here, but my point is that even now that they've been in peace for as long as they have, people are even resistant to the idea of someone wanting to know what's beyond the walls, right? Let alone the Titans. That's a whole different thing entirely. Armin never said, I want to go hang out with Titans or meet Titans or kill Titans. He just simply said, I want to know what's outside. And people look at him like he's got 3 heads for that. So it's pretty interesting how quickly people will, you know, get into a mold and stick with it. Oh. Yeah, we know what happens here. Oh, when the soundtrack kicks. Literally. Boom. Wow. Just the blowback from that just sent people flying. But he doesn't even have to do anything. Let them do all the work. Oh. Oh my gosh. Not only did something hit your house, it was like the biggest rock ever. Dude, I've seen this before, and I'm still getting these like, oh my gosh, dude. This was so dark. It was so brutal what happened to these people. It's just terrible. It's just terrible all around. It's just sadness. Just absolute sadness. Okay, first of all, let's just like pause on that for a second and remember how freaking terrifying these Titans are. Like, that is one thing that I vividly remember first watching this. I was like, whoa, these are unnerving, unsettling. They are downright terrifying. That's called the fear of God. Reality just hit her right now, where she knows she has to let them go, but she doesn't want them to go. Goosebumps. Literally got goosebumps. Oh. Wow. You know, some of the key takeaways from this episode, rewatching this again, I mean, I went in depth in the review here in the midst of the episode and the breakdown, but I just can't, it can't be overstated how terrible these people have it. There has been relative peace, quote unquote, for 100 years, but just, you know, in general, the things that these people are subjected to and the fear of knowing that they are ruled over by these Titans, is just terrifying. And the loss is just, it hits so hard. It's just so sad to see what these people have had to go through. It's brutal. It's brutal to watch. And this was even darker now watching it again, knowing what happens, than watching it the first time. I'm going to be honest with you, because the first time when I saw this, I can't even remember what the circumstances were, but it was more of like, I was still trying to figure out what this show was about, and oh, okay, there's a Titan there, and not knowing anything, it strips a layer from it that I now know. There's an extra layer added. I go a layer deeper, and it makes it even the more sad to know what's going on here. I can relate to Eren's sentiment that he's like, what is this all worth if we don't have freedom, if we're not able to live the way that people live instead of like cattle, as he put it, right? You're really not living at all in that regard. And to him, it's just not worth the peace, you know, at the cost of their freedom, because they're effectively walking zombies, right? They're walking around, they're already dead. In a sense, their souls, they have no life like they could have. So I understand. I understand his sentiment, and to be honest, I could, gravitate towards it, especially seeing some of these earlier episodes again. It's really terrible stuff.